Oh, hello, 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 everyone. Good afternoon to everyone enjoying this first weekend in April. We're finishing up the first quarter of 2021, and it's been a whirlwind of emotions, and I'm really thankful for all the support from everyone. The constant love shown, the numerous comments, and the outpour of support from the Filipino community, it's been very, very touching. I said before when I started this journey, and I'll say it again, I've never been so proud to be a Filipino. So go ahead, if you're on here live, please hashtag live. And if you're watching on the replay, please hashtag replay. Before I bring out our special guests, I wanted to give a shout out to Joey Chanko and Tradicion and his team, Chef Anton and Chef Bianca, who shared their story on the last episode. Their restaurant opened one day before the New York COVID restrictions took place, and it was an amazing story of resilience and innovation, two important characteristics of the Filipino culture. These are some of the stories that we want to hear. And if you know of any person or business who has a great story to share, please, and that can inspire others towards entrepreneurship, please leave it in the comments below. Well, this brings me to today's special guest. There is a special place for women entrepreneurs and their passion and dedication to themselves and their community. No matter how far I get, I can never forget the person who really set the tone or the platform for myself. She had a vision and perseverance to create an opportunity for me. TravelWise International was established in 1989 by my mom, Ofelia Adriano. She was a med tech at Southern Maryland who had a dream to connect people to the world. Although she had 3 children, she never gave up on her dreams, and with the odds against her, she created TravelWise International. Nothing makes me more proud than to continue her legacy and honor her dreams. My name's Alvin Adriano, CEO of TravelWise International, a Filipino-owned and operated travel agency since 1989, and I am my mother's son. So, although travel has been decimated, it has been my mission to provide a platform for Filipinos to inspire them towards entrepreneurship. With that said, today's guest is a big supporter of women empowerment, and I'm really, really excited to share her story. She has been a constant supporter of women's rights and the Filipino community, and she is a prime example of being a great role model for young women. Marie Valmonte is an advocate of the advancement of women and a champion of diversity and inclusion, serving as a chair of an employee relations group and founding women's networks within the international organization. Marie is the CEO of Kayoru LLC, a small minority-owned business with over 20 years of experience in professional learning and program development. In her role, she strives to provide a platform for sharing knowledge and in-depth sustainable training module as a life transitioning coach. She also serves as a board member at the Margaret McNamara Education Grant. She is also the ex-vice president of training program development for the Philippine-American Chamber of Commerce of Washington, D.C., also known as PACC-DC. Supporting her commitment to mental health issues, Marie is a certified mental health first aid. She is a licensed real estate agent in the state of Virginia, a Mega World International Ambassador, and a property specialist in the Philippines with over 23 million worth of properties in her portfolio. Marie holds a master's degree in information systems management from George Washington University and an undergraduate degree in economics from the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, Philippines. So before we bring her out, please smash those heart buttons and give Marie some much needed love and respect by taking the time to be here today. It is my absolute honor and privilege to introduce today's guest to all of our viewers, Miss Marie Valmonte.
So much. Can you?
Perfect. So great. Just reading your bio, it really gives me chills because you are such an accomplished woman. Where do you find the time to do all of these things?
Well, before we start that, I just want to say, Alvin, thank you so much for the platform that you have created, connecting entrepreneurs in the area or however many or however far your reach. This is truly an amazing thing that you've done, and kudos, good job, and I'm definitely here to support. Yes, to your question, where do I find all the time? everything that you do, right? It's there's all a good science to being productive, and I've learned through many self-help books. I probably have read about 223 self-help books and attended a lot of trainings on, leadership skills, communication skills, or however you want to call it, personal development skills. And time management is one of those that you really have to have that science down and be very disciplined to do everything that I have in my plate. I surround myself with a lot of great people too, a great support, family that loves and support what I do as well. So that helps.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you for having me. It's an honor to be here. Truly an
Well,
honor to be here.
trust me, with your accomplishments and achievement, it's truly my honor. I mean, I set this platform because I wanted to help Filipino entrepreneurs. With someone like you with such great achievement, it's really um, touching because it's amazing what Filipinos can do, especially as a woman and an entrepreneur in this world right now. So Marie, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah,
Something?
no, I was just gonna add too, because you mentioned how do I do everything here with all the things that I have on my table. Don't forget also that we are in the, a land of all dreamers in the United States of America, where there's a lot of help for businesses. I had definitely had the help of the small business admin under the GSA of the government of the United States, where you could go and learn about how to become a businesswoman. And I made trips from Reston, Virginia to Springfield, Virginia. That's not that far, not that near, but an effort to go there and really educated myself to, how it is to create a business and how to run a business and what are the resources out there. So a lot of help on the technical side, but most of all, it's at the bottom of it is the grit, right?
Yep.
As long as you have the determination to do it, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I just believe in that.
And what you were saying is so important because a lot of Filipinos or a lot of starting entrepreneurs don't realize how much resources are available to you. When you talk about, reading in books, getting self-help, and the government, people don't realize that all this information is available. You don't have to rework the wheel all the time. Sometimes you just have to reach out and do some research and find out all this information is free. Especially now with the internet, you can practically do everything on the internet and learn and just figure out what it is, what your passions are towards entrepreneurship.
Right. Yeah. That's exactly what I did. I started with the research online and then just outpouring information on, what are the resources out there, took notes, what are my next steps, how far do I want this, how do I have the energy to do this? But, of course, there's a strong, of all the titles that you had mentioned, Alvin, just to circle it back, you have a strong base at home. The most important title to me is being a mother and a wife. Because without those two people that gave me those titles, I wouldn't have the inspiration to do anything. So I have a daughter who's 15 years old. I've been married to a wonderful man, Paul, for 16 years. And we have a daughter who's turning 15 in June. So that's where all of this inspiration comes from. The name of my company alone, Kaya Ru LLC. I don't know if I had mentioned that to you before, or maybe to Marielle, but your sister, whom I love dearly. Kaya Ru. Kaya is a Tagalog word, as we know. It means you can. And Ru is a nickname that I had given to my daughter. So it's like cheering on to my daughter, saying you can do anything, and reminder to me that I can do anything. So that's the basis of Kaya Ru LLC.
That's awesome. That's an awesome
Still everything is about empowerment.
Yes. I mean, that's the best thing I've heard in a while. I mean, again, like, I'm married, maybe not as long as you. I've been only married for 10 years, going on 11th on April 15th. So if my wife's watching, it will be our 11th. But we have 3 kids. And, my life really changed when I had kids. I thought, when you're young, I really wanted the big houses and big cars and to do this. But as I had children, I started seeing what my life would be like if I didn't have children, and like, hey, what do I want to leave for them as a legacy? And it goes around and talking about my mom and what she left for me. And that's when I started realizing that there's got to be more than life than just having the money, but really making an impact on people and leaving a legacy for them so that you can pave the way for the future leaders. And so, I really, really resonate with what you're saying, because it's important to have something that drives you beyond money, because you can always make money.
Exactly.
So,
And it's the why, right? And
yeah.
people ask me that before too. Why personal development? Why training? So I worked in an international organization. You probably heard of the World Bank in Washington, D.C. for about 23 years. So being in that organization in an environment where it's so diverse, inclusive, and outpouring support to staff and employees for personal development, that's when I learned that, oh, these skills can be learned. For example, leadership skills, communication skills, presentation skills. To share with you my very first meeting where I felt so passionate about what I was going to say to the vice president in the room. And I was so nervous that I started talking and my voice was shaking, and all the nerves, right? At some point I was stopped, and I was told, stop, you need to relax. And that's when it's sort of, I had the courage to speak up, but I didn't know the skills on how to control my nerves. And all these years, I've done trainings, personal development, interpersonal, intrapersonal as well. So having honed the skills, and I've learned that I could pass it on to people, and then having told by people I love to watch when they're presenting, come to me and said, you are wonderful at presenting. That's when sort of like, well, thank you, being modesty aside, mentioning that is an example of a testament that truly believing in yourself and other people, listening to other people, the message that they share with you, kind of is a testament to what I had achieved at that time. And it was and the reason I share that, it was an eye-opening experience to me, and also sort of sort of a path that led to, this is what I want to do. If I had learned the skills, I know I could help other people learn them too. And that's why Kairu is existing right now. And I hope I could reach out to a lot of people over there, especially, I could work with institutions, international nonprofit organizations, or even government offices to help them, with their human resource needs, training their staff, and not only training in personal development, but that also helps in the retention of human resource in any organization.
Oh no, that's amazing. I mean, again, talking about how involved you are and how your influence has translated into your personal, or into your business development, to your personal. It's truly great to hear that how powerful your words are. So, as busy as you are, what are you working on lately, or during the pandemic? Has your business pivoted in any way, or have you changed?
Right. So you mentioned the pandemic. Of course, that was like the tipping point for everyone. Either you kind of sink or you swim, right? What I did was started, of course, just like everyone, the first 2 months, there was like a lull, right? Nobody wanted to do anything. Everyone's kind of feeling what's going to happen. It was a shock. And any adverse situation, you kind of like take a pause. After the pause, I realized people are talking about, the buzzword was stress and, mental health. And that's when I started. And Alvin, I've been blessed with, whatever I think about, somehow, some way, a path is kind of drawn, in front of me to say, okay, well then do this. I wanted to learn more about mental health and how I could help. And so being a life coach, a certified life coach in 2019, and then creating my business, and then the pandemic happened, I kind of switched and I said, let's put on my life coach hat and let's kind of learn more about mental health. And so I attended a certification training on mental health. I reached out to the community, PACC-DC, which is a wonderful organization. Please support it. And I said, let's do something for our kababayans. And we did sort of a training called How to Manage Stress. And so doing that, I've learned from a lot of people that, of course, we deal with stress in different ways, and that I could help in my own way through one-on-one coaching. But I was also exposed to other opportunities. Someone approached me and said, well, make a world development Can you help us with, properties in the Philippines that maybe we could try to help other people here invest? And within 2 months, that's May and June, I did a roadshow and just introducing people. And again, everything that I am involved in, whether as an investor, because I am an investor, I teach people what I've learned through the ropes. So Mega World, I told people about it because I invested in Mega World 4 years ago, and I started teaching people. So in 2 months, I had 2 million in sales, and this is during the pandemic. And that's when I kind of had my eyes open to real estate. And in October, I worked on this license. I got my license in December, and now I'm a realtor. And just calling people and my friends and families, they have trusted me with family properties, and therefore I have that number in my portfolio right now for properties in the Philippines that are owned by our kababayans all over the globe.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, again, we all in the crisis, when the crisis happened, a lot of people had a lot of emotions rolling around, but the true entrepreneurs learned how to be innovative and try to figure out what they can do to survive, and that's what's important right now. And I mentioned it in our last episode with resiliency. That's something that's really important in the Philippines because things always change. And for you to do that and to be here now, it's really, really an amazing story. You also mentioned about the mental health, which is a big issue now with people trying to deal with finances, trying to deal with unemployment. For those of our viewers who don't really understand what a life transitioning coach, could you kind of explain that a little bit?
Sure. So this is my analogy, Alvin. You probably played sports when you were growing up.
Yeah.
What kind of sport?
Basketball.
Basketball. You had a coach.
Yes.
Yes. How did the coach help you?
Oh, I ran a lot. I ran a lot until I threw up.
Okay, let me ask you this. If the coach had not been there, would you do those things that the coach had asked you to do?
Probably not. Probably not.
There you go. So, as a life coach, life transition coach, right? I've been through a lot of changes in my life, from being in my early 20s, have only lived in the Philippines, flew to the United States in my early 20s, and then right smack in the middle of New York City was my first job. It was a culture shock to me. Did I have a coach then? No. Would I have benefited from having a life coach? Oh yeah, yes. But I did not. Yes, people turn to become resilient and learn on their own way. But nowadays, with resources that we have in our hands and technology, and knowing that you could learn to kind of fast track things, why not have a coach? I hire people, or I pay an academy so that my daughter has a coach to teach her in her soccer sport that she chose. We hire like coaches, or in school we have coaches for the teams. But after we get out of our school system, we don't have coaches. We're lucky if we have good coaches coaching from our parents, but usually kids don't want to listen to their parents, especially if you're an adult, right? You listen to your friends. You're lucky if you have good friends around you and positive friends that surround you with good advice. But we're all the same age. Where do you get the wisdom? So life coaching to me is like, if you develop a personal skill or any kind of life skills, right? You need help in sustaining that personal growth. And that's where life coaching comes in.
No, yeah, I totally agree. Like for sports, like any avid sports person knows how influential it is to push you, to get you to the next step, to get you to the next level. And yes, personal development, self-improvement is such things that people don't realize that they should invest in. And so, yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about. And I really want to touch on the fact that you said that, because in your bio, you also talk about advocacy for women and women empowerment. How has that led you to be an advocate for women? What are you doing now to push that?
Okay, so first of all, as a mother, that's definitely what I do, right? I advocate for her personal growth, having a daughter. And also, I support organizations, specifically Margaret McNamara Education Grant. So I sit there as a member of the board, and what we do is we raise funds so that we could give that as a grant to women who would like to pursue their higher education. And these are not just women, but exceptional women. I'll give you a couple of examples. A woman in Afghanistan realized that when she goes to have her passport renewed, she needs to bring her brother or a male figure in the family, because the male figure in the family has to apply on her behalf. She said, no, that's wrong. I have my voice and I can do this on my own. I need to change the policy in my country. So she asked for a grant so that she could work on civic activities in her country that would support, her education and support creating a policy to fight for women's rights.
Yeah.
There's a woman in Africa who would like to teach farming to women, and only men have been trained to do it. So she wants to go back to school and learn about technology that would make farming, fish farming, easier for women. And she wants to go to somewhere in Europe, and we funded her education through Margaret McNamara Education Grant to bring back home to the community so that there's sustainable growth and job for women in her tribe. These are exceptional women. Not only in Latin America, also we support women there. United States, Trinity College, and also a college in Canada. So this is a global support that Margaret McNamara provides to women out there. So yes, there's a lot of organizations that would need your time, effort, and money. I choose the one that's really aligned to what's important to me, and that's women empowerment.
No, that's great. I mean, when I had a daughter, my whole life changed because it's funny because I guess I'm a guy. I wanted a son first, but when I had a daughter, my heart melted, and I wanted to give her the world. And then you start taking notice of how unfair or what obstacles women have. And like I mentioned before, my mom being an entrepreneur, I saw her struggles. And so this is a really touching story for me because I really want to push that. And for all the viewers who don't know, I'll give you a little bit more info about Margaret McNamara's Education Grant. It awards education grants to exceptional women from developing countries who are at least 25 years old and are enrolled in universities in the US, Canada, and select universities in South Africa and Latin America. The grants have been awarded to women from over 75 countries. Almost $4 million have been distributed through this education grant. And so, yes, this is a really, really big moment because for those who don't know where to help women out or what to do, this is a really, really great story.
Thank you, Alvin, and thank you for mentioning that. That's really an important piece. And you also asked, I just want to tie that to the pandemic and what happened and how it affected our fundraising. So because of the pandemic, we couldn't do our yearly fundraising that was held through the years at the lobby of the World Bank building, right, in DC. And what we did is we created an online platform, right? Online platform so that people can still do their shopping because we can't go outside.
Yeah.
Now, through my role in PACC-DC, I learned of some women entrepreneurs in the Philippines really wanting to rev up their sales because they were negatively impacted by the pandemic. So I kind of put two and two together. I asked the MMEG organization, can we help some, struggling entrepreneurs in the Philippines so that some of their products can be featured in our online marketplace? It worked. So we highlighted 3 or 4 artists that are accessory makers in the Philippines. They were part of the MMEG fundraising last year online that went for 1 week. It raised good money, but to me, it's just the first ever that a Filipino artist accessory makers were featured in an activity that's been going on for years in Washington, D.C. And kind of aligning together, I kind of help what our families and friends back in the Philippines kind of need. and putting two together, and it worked. It was wonderful. I just wanted to plug that.
No, it's,
Collaboration with PACC-DC.
and that's what we have to do today, collaborating with so many people just so we can get our voices heard.
Yes.
I mentioned before this platform was created to do that. And so, again, your story is just so amazing. Before we continue, everyone who is watching, let's give our appreciation and let's show Marie and Kairu LLC some love and hashtag Life Coach. And if you're really inspired by Marie's work, please hashtag women so that we can recognize you. If anyone has any questions for Marie, please drop them in the comments so we can ask them during the Q&A portion of the show. Marie, during this pandemic, I know we talked about the emotions, the stress, the anger, sadness, and so on. What advice can you share with our viewers who have been struggling or have been affected during this time?
Take the day one day at a time. I always, this is the one thing I bounce off, not only intra-personal and also, of course, with my husband and my daughter. Every day we wake up and we're thankful for things that we have, right? It's very easy to forget what you have. It's so easy to focus on things that we don't have.
Yeah.
But the trick is, one day, I journal. I don't know if you guys try to write, your emotions from time to time, but I do write. In my journal, one day I started talking about the pandemic, and I said all the things that changed, the things that the pandemic introduced for us to change our lifestyle. And I said, stop. I want you to, and I wrote it down. I said, stop thinking about the things that have changed, but think about the things that you have and you can appreciate. Alvin, I'm kidding you, but it was a long list of appreciation. And I didn't realize that I knew all those things, but it was up here until I wrote it down. And I smiled. And every time now, if I'm in my, kind of feeling down, to me, being stressed or being in a pandemic, of course, it's a stressful thing, right? But acknowledge that emotions are real. Acknowledge that emotions are temporary. So allow yourself to be down, but allow yourself to spring up. Because when you're down, there's no way but up. And so, but there are ways and exercises that you could actually bounce back. That's number one is thinking and thanking, the Lord, the universe, whoever you believe in, for everything that you have. You have good health, you have your family, you have food on the table, there's sun shining out today. And even if it's raining, rain is amazing, it helps the trees and the plants.
Yeah.
So just be appreciative. To me, that brings in a whole different kind of perspective.
No, yeah. I think, one thing that I learned this year was gratitude and being thankful because, when you're a business owner, sometimes the X's and O's and the red, you focus on too much of the business. But once this pandemic had hit and I was forced to kind of realign my values, I was really thankful for a lot of things.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you this. I mean, you're so busy, you have so much going on, but is there anything during this pandemic for yourself, for self-development that you've learned for yourself?
Yoga. Definitely.
Yoga.
Yoga. I definitely bumped up my time just being mindful. I also learned the how to become more productive by being purposeful. So what is my purpose for tomorrow? How do I prioritize the things that are in my to-do list? How do I categorize them? Yes, there's a whole science to it, and I could teach you that if you want. But it's making sure that what I do the following days truly align to what I want, so that at the end of the day, I feel very productive. And instead of telling myself, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, at the end of the day, I say thankful. I'm thankful for the things that I've done. So yoga or meditation. Meditation is like praying. Praying, if you pray, from my experience though, having been raised a Catholic, I prayed a lot, growing up. But what I was taught, or what I thought was the right way of praying, is thanking and asking. But to me, meditation is more about listening to myself, listening to what the universe is kind of presenting to me, and I should not resist that. Do you ever find that, like, you think of something and then all of a sudden it's there?
Yeah, all the
You
time.
know, the best example is like when my husband and I we talk about, say, a type of car that we're thinking of buying.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, that's all you see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that car. Oh, look at that car. So to me, meditation has helped me focus on things that really truly mattered to me. And so by doing that, I have a purposeful day.
Yeah, to all our viewers, I mean, I found yoga too. I mean, it's
You
an
did?
I did, I did. I keep telling my wife, like, I spend like 15 to 20 minutes in the morning doing yoga because, at first I was a big runner. I like to lift weights, but then when I started stretching and working on my breathing, I found myself having more, being more mindful and understanding how my body reacts and what each movement makes. And so I really love that. I didn't think I was going to like it at first, but once you give yourself and your thought and you really understand, like we're mentioning all throughout this episode, purpose, you start to appreciate everything around you. You figure and you find out around your environment and how you can give back to your environment. So
Yeah.
I'm a really advocate for yoga.
Good for you. That's awesome.
So you left us with so many great nuggets of information. I know there's some people who've already been excited to hear more about your story. If people were going to find you on social media, where can they find you?
Sure. It's our company website is www.kayarullc.com. That's KAYAROOLLC.com. On Instagram, for Kaya High 2014. Everything is Kaya. KAYAHAI, which is the last syllable for Bahay, which is house. Easy to remember. Kaya High 2014 for the properties that we have in the Philippines that are available either for renting or selling. Now, for the Northern Virginia one, I have a Facebook page, Realty, Northern Virginia Realty. It's called rosemarievalmonte.extrealty.com. But other than that, I would love to plug just the PACC-DC. It's a great organization, and also the mmeg.org. If you could follow them, it's on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn, Marie Valmonte on LinkedIn, and then Facebook.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for being here today. And, for all our viewers who are watching, please smash those heart buttons. And if you really resonated with Marie, please hashtag life coach. And if you're really inspired by her work, especially for the advocacy of women, please hashtag women. I know we're running short out of time. Is there any final thoughts or words that you wanted to share with our viewers today, Marie?
Yes, for aspiring entrepreneurs out there, I just want to repeat again, if you want to do it, there's a lot of resources out there. Find it, grab it. Try to kind of focus on what your mind is telling you. A lot of the challenges that I see from industries out there is more on the block, the mental mindset. If you do have a positive mindset, believe me, you can do it. Find your inspiration. Alvin, you had mentioned many times about your mom, and I think she has been a true inspiration to you. Don't be afraid to ask questions and surround yourself with strong, smart mentors.
So again, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch this on the replay and really go understand your words, because you did leave so much and such a lasting image of us for us. But thank you. I really want personally for you to come out here and share your story and share what you're doing. So to all the viewers, if there's anything else, any other questions, thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you, Alvin. It's a
For all of our viewers, again, I want to personally thank you for taking the time to share this moment with me and Marie and learn more about the importance of her business. Learning from others is an important thing, and we as Filipinos must take this opportunity to inspire the future leaders of tomorrow. As we wrap up today's show, I wanted to give a special shout out to all the Phil-Lambs who are watching today. Next week, I'll be out of the country and I'll be unable to host another show, but we'll reconvene at the third week of April. where I'll interview an amazing woman, Phyllis Masaya, CEO of Masarap Lumpia, based out of Oxnard, California. Her company specializes in vegan Philippine cuisine and has providing her clients and viewers positivity and inspiration. Let me see if I can bring her up here. Perfect. So that will be on April 15th, 2021, on Pacific time, 11 a.m. and Central time, 1 p.m. And on here on the East Coast, it's going to be 2 p.m. Perfect. And so, yes, we're not going to have another show next week, but on the 3rd week of April, we'll go ahead and bring Phyllis on. Lastly, okay. Lastly, before we sign off, I said in my Facebook Live this morning that I had a special announcement. What I've learned from a nonprofit organization that I volunteer for PhilPro, that we need all of your support. I know I'm in the travel business, and I know many people have been asking about the travel restrictions, but I wanted to put this special announcement. A lot of people have been affected by the travel restrictions imposed by the Philippine government due to the surging cases, which continue to plague our country. I know we all have family, friends, relatives, and reasons to go home. However, hospitalization rates are up, and we are on the brink of concern. I am urging all of our viewers to advocate and push for the quick response of the Moderna vaccine to be deployed to the Philippines. The Philippine government has signed an agreement with Moderna for 20 million vaccinations, which will help our country resume normalcy for the economy and our people. So I and many of my colleagues are asking for your participation in writing to your legislator. By writing letters to your elected officials and lawmakers to authorize and expedite the deployment of the vaccine. The original target date for the distribution was June and July, but we are hoping with all of your help, we can push this to have the vaccines in the Philippines by the end of April. I felt it was very important for us to voice our concerns for Filipinos, not only here in the US, but for many Filipinos struggling with the pandemic back home. Many of our viewers now are all over the country, and with your participation, it will greatly advance our cause. Speaking to our communities, networks, and organizations that we can help unite this extremely important case. I know it's really hard to write letters, so what I did was, if you need a sample template, please visit www.travelwise.com/vaccine. Put it on the screen for you guys. But there I posted a sample draft shared to me by my colleagues to help push our cause. Again, as a community, it's very important that we unite and we help provide relief to all Filipinos wherever they are. So again, my name's Alvin Adriano, a Filipino entrepreneur, an advocate for our community. And if you love what you hear today, please #celebrate and let's keep this going. So thank you so much for joining us today on our episode celebrating Filipino entrepreneurs with Marie Valmonte. Until next time, mabuhay.